Hello everyone, this is part 1 video on past year NEET questions from the topic the P block element. Here we look at only questions from the 13th and 14th groups. We will start with a question that has come in NEET 2019. Which of the following is incorrect statement? So we are being given 4 statements and we have to conclude which of them is incorrect. So if we just take a quick look at these statements, right, whether it is option A or B or C or D, they are all talking about the 14th group, the carbon family halides. Okay, so if you look at option A, what is option A saying? SnF4. Okay, so tin tetrafluoride is ionic in nature. Option B is saying Pb, lead. Okay, so PbF4 is covalent in nature. Option C is saying that SiCl4 is easily hydrolyzed. Option D is saying that Ge germanium X4, where it can be a halogen like a fluorine or chlorine, bromine, iodine. GeX4 is more stable than GeX2. So here we are trying to comment on various parameters. So first, if you look at A and B, they are talking about the covalent nature or ionic nature. Same is the C option also, because C is saying what? Easily hydrolyzed. So generally if you look at the covalent nature is more, means that will be easily hydrolyzed. Ionic nature means it will not be hydrolyzed. Okay, the ions, respective ions will not be hydrolyzed. Okay, so if you look at these 14th group tetrahalides, all of them are having predominantly covalent nature. So the covalent nature will be there for the tetrahalides of the 14th group carbon family, except the case of the tin and lead with fluorine. So why? Because as you go down the group, right, so carbon, silicon, then comes germanium, then tin and then lead. As you go down the group, we will see that carbon is what? Non-metal, silicon, germanium, metalloids, and tin and lead will be having metallic characteristics. As you go down the group, the metallic characteristics will be increasing. And with fluorine, which is the highest electronegative element, these two, both tin SnF4 as well as the PbF4, right, they will be having ionic nature. So SnF4 and PbF4, they both will be having ionic nature. So which means option B, which is saying that PbF4 is having covalent nature, this is the incorrect. Remember what we are looking for? We are looking for the incorrect statement. So option B is going to be the incorrect. And we look at option C. Option C is what? SiCl4 easily hydrolyzed. So if you are saying that tetra halides are covalent in nature, then other than of course the SnF4 and PbF4, see other halides, right, like including SiCl4, they must easily undergo hydrolysis. Okay, because the Si plus 4 ion, it will not be the very stable ion, so hence it will undergo the hydrolysis. So this is also correct. So option A is correct, C is correct. I mean, of course we got our option for this question because we are looking for the incorrect or the wrong answer, right, which is of course option B. But we'll take a look at the option D also. GeX4 is more stable than GeX2. Why this is happening? The 14th group elements, right, they will show 2 oxidation states, both +4 and +2. If you go down the group, the valence arrangement is what? NS2, NP2. The NS2 electrons will be attracted more strongly by the nucleus, and this results in creating what we call as an inert pair effect. These 2 electrons, right, will show reluctance in participating in the bond formation. So as a result, as you go down the group, right, we will see that the probability or the stability of the +2 state will be increasing. So as you go down the group, the stability of the +2 state will be increasing and stability of the +4 state will be decreasing. But the thing is, the +2 state will be mainly stable only for the bottommost element, which is of course the lead. So other than that, even including tin also, right, so tin can show a +2 state as well, but the stability will be predominantly for the +4. So germanium GeX4 is more stable than GeX2. So that plus 2 state will be stable only for the case of the lead. Okay, so this is also correct. So the answer for this question number 1 is what? Option B, that is the wrong, because we are looking for the incorrect statement. Next we have another question that has come in the same NEET 2019 paper. Which of the following species is not stable? So here we are looking at SiCl6 2 minus, SiF6 2 minus, GeCl6 2 minus, and SnOH6 times 2 minus. So what is the difference between these ions here is that these are all examples of the extra octet arrangement. Okay, and this is happening because of the inclusion or participation of the vacant d orbitals. So in the 14th group, this phenomena will start happening from silicon onwards. Carbon cannot do that. Okay, so we are seeing that in all the cases, right, silicon is able to have what? In both the examples, silicon is able to have a valency of 6. Same is the case with germanium, same is the case with tin also. Now the thing is, if you look at germanium, tin and silicon, so how do they appear in the group? So first will be carbon, then comes silicon, then comes germanium, then comes tin, and below that will be the lead. So the smallest of them is the silicon. Now when silicon is surrounded by small anions, like in the case F minus ions, which is SiF6 2 minus, that is fine, there will be not much steric effect hindrances. But if the same small size silicon is surrounded by 6 chlorines, because the chlorines are large in terms of size, so what would happen is, I'm not drawing here the actual arrangement that they will have, I'm just representing that, okay, there will be 6 chlorines. There is going to be steric hindrances or steric effect that is going to come into picture, because the central atom is small size and the peripheral atoms are what? Large. That is not happening in the case of GeCl6 or SnOH6. Why? Because the central atoms are large atoms. So if you have a central atom, small atom, and peripheral atoms are large, right, that is going to create steric hindrances, and this will result in less stability of the particular species. So SiCl6, right, because the central atom is small and the peripheral atoms are large. So between these two, SiCl6 2 minus and SiF6 2 minus, right, fluorine is what? Small in size than chlorine. So among all these species given to us, SiCl6 2 minus, right, will be unstable. And what is the reason for that? The reason is the steric hindrances. The large size of the chlorine, right, will create the steric hindrances. So the correct answer for this is what? Option A. That will be the one which is going to be unstable. Next we have a question that has come in Odisha paper NEET 2019. Which of the following compounds is used in cosmetic surgery? So if you look at silicones, right, silicones are biocompatible. So biocompatible means what? They will be compatible with the parts of our body, and we'll see that most of these makeup, hair, skin, underarm products, most of them they will be containing silicones. Not just that, the gel form of silicone, right, silicones are basically what? Organosilicon polymers. Okay, so the gel form of these silicones, they will be used in making of the bandages, dressings, and even the implants for the testicles or breast, etc. So the ones that will be used in cosmetic surgeries, right, they will be what? Silicones, and that is because of the biocompatible nature of these silicones. The correct answer for this is option C. Next we have a question that has come in NEET 2018. Which of the following elements is unable to form MF6 3 minus ion? Means we are talking about the 13th group elements. So boron, aluminum, gallium, indium, and then comes the thallium. So all these are what? 13th group elements. Of course here thallium is not discussed. Boron, gallium, aluminum, indium, they are discussed. Okay, so among them, so MF6 3 minus, like we have AlF6 3 minus, we can also have gallium F6 3 minus, we can also have indium F6 3 minus, because in all the cases, right, the central atom will be able to use the vacant d orbitals of the particular valence shell. Okay, because for aluminum the valence shell is what? It is the third shell. So third shell will have 3d vacant orbitals. Then comes gallium, it will be what? 4d. Then comes indium, it will be what? 5d. But that is not going to be the case with boron. Boron cannot expand its valency more than 4. So boron maximum can be forming what? Bf4 minus. So boron will not be able to form Bf6 3 minus, because it does not have boron. The valence shell is what? Second shell is the valence shell, and second shell has no vacant d orbitals, because the d subshell itself will start from the third orbit, right? So among them, the one that cannot form, that cannot expand its valency beyond 4. Boron cannot expand the valency beyond 4. Same in the 14th group, right? This is the story of the 13th group. So what we are looking at is the story of the 13th group. When we go to the 14th group, right? Same in the previous example also, I think we have seen that in the 14th group, carbon is the one that cannot expand, this cannot expand the valency. Carbon cannot expand the valency beyond 4. So whereas silicon, germanium, they can expand. Okay. Next we have a question that has come in NEET 2017 paper. It is because of the inability of the ns2 electrons of the valence shell to participate in the bonding that. So this is basically what is the concept we are talking about? It is the inert pair effect. What is the concept? The concept is the inert pair effect. Okay. Look at this options. Sn2 plus is oxidizing while Pb4 plus is reducing. Okay. See, when we say Pb4 plus, right? Pb4 plus reducing means what? This Pb4 plus itself, see, when we say something is reducing, right? When we say something is reducing in nature, it basically means what? This itself must undergo oxidation. This itself must undergo oxidation. So if you look at, I think in one of the previous problems also we discussed about it, in the 14th group, right? Carbon, silicon, germanium, then the tin and lead, the +2 stability will increase down the group. In fact, in case of lead, we will see that +2 will be more stable than +4. So already if Pb is in +4, it must undergo oxidation, means what? The oxidation state should increase after beyond +4. So it cannot show beyond +4, right? So we have only two possibilities, +2 and +4. That too, +2 is more stable than +4. Okay. So the option A is actually incorrect. Why? Because it is saying Pb4 plus is reducing in nature. Actually Pb4 plus will be what? It will be oxidizing. Pb4 plus will not be reducing, it will be what? Oxidizing. Why it will be oxidizing? Because in comparison to Pb4 plus, Pb2 plus is more stable, right? So it will undergo reduction. What actually happened? This will undergo reduction to form Pb2 plus, which is more stable. If it is undergoing reduction, means what? This is having oxidizing nature. This will be having what? Oxidizing nature. So look at it. The oxidizing nature, where is it coming? Option C as well as D. They both are talking about Pb4 plus having oxidizing nature. Means Pb4 plus will itself get reduced to Pb2 plus. And thereby it will be having what? Oxidizing nature. Now the question is about tin. What about the tin? See, the stability is only for the stability of +2 state is mostly for the lead. It is not for the tin. So in tin case, what will happen is the Sn2 plus can still undergo oxidation and form Sn4 plus. Sn2 plus can still undergo, it can undergo oxidation. Means what? Here this is actually showing a reducing nature. See, this wording we have to be careful, because when any substance itself is undergoing oxidation, means what? It is able to act as a reducing agent, or it is showing the reducing nature. Okay, so if the tin 2 plus is undergoing oxidation to become tin 4 plus, means it is showing reducing nature. Means what? The correct answer will be Sn2 plus will be reducing in nature, while Pb4 plus will be what? Oxidizing. So the inertness of these subshell, S subshell electrons, right, for the bond formation, that's what we call as the inert pair effect. And this inert pair effect will be increasing down the group. And for tin, the +4 oxidation state will be more stable than plus 2. But when we go to lead, right, that is where finally the plus 2 will become more stable than plus 4 itself. So in case of lead only, we will see that Pb4 plus will be oxidizing in nature, because Pb4 plus will undergo reduction to form more stable Pb2 plus. Whereas in case of tin, still the same story, plus 4 will be more stable. Okay, means what? The Sn2 plus will undergo oxidation. Sn2 plus will undergo oxidation to form Sn4 plus, means still it is showing the reducing nature. Okay, so the correct answer for this is option D. Next we have a question that has come in NEET paper 2 of 2016. Boric acid is an acid because its molecule, boric acid, right, H3BO3, I mean we can write it in different ways. It's not a Arrhenius acid, it's actually a Lewis acid. So what happens is, when it is with water, the boric acid, so we can also write boric acid what? BOH thrice. So central atom is having less than octet structure, it's electron deficit. The central atom boron is what? It's electron deficit. So it can accept lone pair of electrons, and that it will do by accepting the OH minus. Okay, so the H2O will give OH minus, and the boron will bond itself to OH minus, thereby it will be forming what? BOH4 times minus, and the H plus will be reduced as a result of it. So the correct answer is what? It will accept OH minus from water, thereby releasing a proton. So it is accepting OH minus from water, and it is forming the BOH4 times minus, and proton is being released. So what is H plus? H plus is nothing but proton, right? Next we have a question that has come in the NEET paper 2 of 2016. AlF3 is soluble in HF only in the presence of Kf. It is due to the formation of. So if you look at AlF3, right, it will be insoluble in the anhydrous HF. Why? Because the HF, right, will not be able to provide F minus ions. Okay, because the HF bond, right, will be actually more stable bond. If you look at HF, HCl, HBr, HI, this HF bond will be what? It will be a strong bond. Okay, so HI bond will be the weak bond. That's why we see even the acidic nature, right, will be actually increasing. The acidic nature will be what? The acidic nature increases down the halogen group. Okay, so what we see is that the HF will not be able to easily provide the F minus ions. But in the presence of even small amount of Kf, right, what will happen is Kf will be able to induce the F minus ions formation. So as a result of F minus ions coming, the AlF3 will be able to form a complex, and that will make it to be soluble. So what is the complex that will get formed? It will be K3AlF6. So this is what we see as AlF6 3 minus and 3 K plus ions. The complex is what? K3AlF6. The correct answer is option B. So in anhydrous HF, the F minus ions will not be there. That is why it will not be soluble. Whereas in the presence of Kf, right, because of the formation of the complex, it will be more soluble. Next we have a question that has come in multiple number of years. The stability of the +1 oxidation state among aluminum, gallium, indium, thallium increases in the sequence. It's a straight question. So as we go down the group, and what is the reason for this? It is the inert pair effect. So in the 13th group, right, the valence arrangement is what? The valence arrangement is ns2 np1. That is the valence arrangement. So the ns2 electrons will get more attracted to the nuclear power. So only the np has got only one electron. So as you go down the group, right, we will see that the +1 stability will be increasing. This is because of the reluctance of the ns2 electrons to participate in the bonding. So which means what? They are asking the straight question, right? The stability of the +1 oxidation state means what is going to happen? As you go down the group, the stability will be what? Increasing. Okay. So in 13th group, we will see that they can form both plus 3 as well as plus 1 oxidation states. So if you look at plus 3 oxidation state, the stability of plus 3 will decrease down the group and stability of plus 1 will be increasing down the group. This is because of the inert pair effect. So we are looking at the stability of plus 1, right? Means going down the group it will be increasing. So what is the answer for this? Aluminum less than, gallium less than, indium less than, thallium. So if you look at the 13th group, right, boron of course is not mentioned here. Boron, aluminum, gallium, indium and then thallium, right? So as you go down the group, stability of the plus 1 will be increasing. Next we have a question that has come in NEET paper 2013. Which of the following structure is similar to graphite? See, if you look at these given entities, right? So B4C, B2H6, diborane. This is actually what B2H6 is, what? Diborane. Okay, so we know the structure of this. Simply B is, option D is what? Boron alone. Option C is Bn, boron nitride. So boron nitride, even if you look at the number of electrons, so boron has got how many electrons? I mean, if we look at the boron, number of electrons is 5 and nitrogen number of electrons is what? 7. So totally it will be what? 12. In graphite, if you look at similarly, I mean, we take the average, means what is it? 2 atoms are there, no? So average it is going to be what? 6, which is nothing but number of electrons of carbon. Okay, so I mean, this is a way in which we can look at it, but yeah. So among the given substances, right, boron nitride, it's also called as inorganic graphite. It's called as what? Inorganic graphite, and it will have a structure which will be very much similar to graphite. So if you look at graphite structure, what is the graphite structure? We'll have a hexagonal layer and there will be bonding between one layer to other layer. So we'll have a hexagonal layered arrangement. Okay, so all will be carbon atoms. Whereas if you see boron nitride, here also you'll have hexagonal layer. But the thing is, here the bonding, right, from one layer to other layer will be between nitrogen of one layer to boron of the other layer. So we'll have the hexagonal layered arrangement only, but the layer to layer bonding will be between what? One layer nitrogen will be bonded to another layer boron, like that. So it has got exactly similar structure like the graphite. Not only structure but also properties. Okay. So the correct answer for this is what? Bn, boron nitride. It's also called as what? Inorganic graphite, because it will have almost similar structure like that of the graphite, the hexagonal layered structure. Next we have a question that has come in NEET paper 2013. Okay, which of these is not a monomer for high molecular mass silicone polymer? See, normally when we talk about the silicones, right, so what are these silicones? So if you have R2SiO, this kind of linkage polymers, right, so we'll call them as what? Silicones. R2SiO kind of linkage polymers are called as what? Silicones, the long chain. So if you look at how silicone will be produced, if you see monomer, so this is the monomer R2SiCl2. If it undergoes hydrolysis, then what will happen is both these Cl minus will be replaced by OH, and this are undergoing polymerization. So from this side OH will be removed, from this side H will be removed. So polymerization will be resulting in the removal of water molecule, and that will give us what? R2SiO. So here for this polymerization to happen, right, so remember we must have a minimum 2 halogens, because 2 halogens are required to get 2 OH linkages, and that is what is going to give us the polymer. So to remove the H2O, right, we must have 2 OH entities on either side minimum. So if you look at these given 4 options, right, exactly option D is matching this one, R2SiCl2. Now option B and option C, right, they have 3 chlorines. Option B and option C, they have 3 chlorines. Still we can have a polymeric linkage with 3 chlorines, because we will be able to get so if you look at the same PHSiCa3, right, what is going to happen? PH, Si, OH, OH, OH. If all the 3 Cls are replaced by the OH, and then when the polymerization happens, then we will still be able to see what? From this side we can remove a H, from this side we can remove OH. So minimum we will be requiring how many chlorines or halogens we will be requiring? 2 chlorines or 2 halogens. We have 3 means still we will be able to form a polymer. But if you have only 1 chlorine, like in the option A, what is going to happen is, look at this, if you have Me3SiCl, right, what is going to happen? Si, Me, Me, this side also one Me and OH. So if you have another molecule coming here, right, another molecule coming here like this, we will see that this can only form a dimer. So these two molecules can only be forming a dimer. You will not be able to form a polymer out of it. So the minimum number of chlorines required is what? 2. Then only we will be able to form a polymer. So the option A is having only one chlorine. It cannot form a polymer. It will keep maximum. It will be able to form only a dimer. So the correct answer is what? Option A, because they are asking which of these is not a monomer of a high molecular mass silicone polymer. So here it is what? Option A cannot be a monomer of a polymer. It can maximum form a dimer only. So this is about the part 1 video, and we will see in the part 2.